My father always alikuwa na mambo matatu kama wewe, not the same, but all his speeches were divided into three. Today I'll divide it into four because he was a foster general. Firstly, you've heard from Bishop Lele about his love for God. Somewhere in that helicopter wreck is his Bible, which was his most precious possession. Anyone who worked with him in DHQ, MAB, Lab, wherever, can attest that he always had a Bible with him. And I am hoping they're able to retrieve it from the accident. I'd want to keep it as a memento, and for the rest of the family as well. His Bible meant a lot to him, and between me and him, the rest of the family, my mom and my wife were a bit slow, but we'd always engage in a competition for reading the Bible and discuss the mortality and all these things of life. He understood that his position was temporary and it would always end. Leading up to his death, he almost knew that his time was up, despite having very many plans for the military and for his family. But he spoke in a certain tone that would suggest that, my son, I won't always be here, and you will need to take care of my wife and my other children.
General Ogolla, despite being a very tough general and commander, who is celebrated for his various accomplishments, was also a very humorous man. He was full of very good jokes, and many a time in tense situations, he would make everybody feel comfortable. Many a time as we waited at the airport, Your Excellency, to welcome you or to see you off to foreign countries, the general would keep us busy with many good stories and keep us entertained. And I do remember one such day when you left and we were left there and we were in a hurry to leave as you took off. And he told me, Mr. Deputy President, it is good for me to inform you that when you are in a military facility and the Commander-in-Chief is away, I am the senior most military officer here, and all of you take orders from me, and you only leave when I tell you so. And after we stayed for a while, he said, you may now take off. I give you fallout. And that was a tradition for the days we stayed with General Ogolla. We were there with Professor Kindiki, the leader of majority, and all these politicians who are not very accustomed to orders. But the general would organize us, and only when he felt that your plane has taken off safely into the skies, he would say, Deputy President and the rest of you, you may now fall out.
Come on a very tragic occasion to say farewell to one of the most illustrious sons of this country. We are paying farewell to a four-star general who has died not in the field of combat, but through a tragic air crash accident. General Ogolla, as has already been said by those who have spoken before, exemplified what you can call a true nationalist. By his own conduct, he showed that he loved his country and he was prepared to serve and die on behalf of his country. We take comfort in listening to his son talk about him. And when I saw Joel talk there, I said, this is a case of the general is dead. Long live the general.
When it came time for me as Commander-in-Chief to make a decision on the next CDF, It wasn't an easy decision as it should. It's always a decision of many balances. But let me say this about General Ogolla. All the recommendations that I got on the next CDF and all the advice that I got about the next CDF did not include the name of General Ogolla, unfortunately. But he was a military officer with a distinguished career. There was only one problem: the events of the 15th of August at the Bomas of Kenya. And so, I asked General Ogolla for a meeting. And I had a one-on-one, man-to-man, come to Jesus meeting with General Ogolla. And when we concluded that meeting, General Ogolla told me the following: Mr. President, I have no defense. I will not try to defend myself. It was wrong what happened. And you have three choices. Either send me to court-martial, or have me retired, or forgive me. That evening, I went home after that meeting. And I reflected on what General Ogolla had told me. And in that reflection, I thought of my own story and my own episode at the ICC in The Hague. I want to urge all of us to learn the lessons, the many lessons that General Ogolla leaves behind. When General came to brief me about where he was going to go, and eventually he told me this Sunday in Siaya at the Anglican church that they had built as a family, the bishop of ACK, the archbishop, would be there to consecrate the church. It now looks like the consecration of the church will be there, but the ceremony will be about the sending of our brother, General Francis Ogolla. When I met the family, and I asked the family, and the family told me about what General Ogolla had wished, including being buried within 72 hours and many of the other things. I asked Mama and Joel, what was the nature of the conversation that led to General talking about his own death, surely? It marks the courage of a man who was ready And he knew, even in the sermon he preached to us today, that life was mortal. For those of us who are scared of death, maybe General Ogolla again is giving us some lessons on how to be ready. Very profoundly, yesterday, many heads of state called to condole with the country. And one profound statement came from the president of Burundi. And he told me in Kiswahili, Mheshimiwa Rais, sisi wote tuko katika mstari. General inaonekana alikuwa mbele yetu, na sisi tujipange.
Basi familia na dada zake wakiweza kuchukua nafasi zao kwenye jukwaa rasmi na kwa heshima, akiwa ameandamana na naibu rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya.